Hi, I'm Lindsay Reiser. We are continuing the coverage of this historic day. NASA's Artemis II mission has successfully taken humans farther from Earth than ever before. The crew has traveled. Let me look it up on my computer so I can give you the exact details. It is 249,337 miles from Earth over the past 6 days. The Orion capsule will continue on its path now around the far side of the moon. And because it has been too dark to see in previous missions, the Artemis II crew is tasked with taking some 10,000 pictures as they make their way around it. At its furthest point from home, the mission will take the 4 astronauts on board 252,760 miles from Earth's surface, that previous record set by the Apollo 13 crew almost 56 years ago to the day. So let's bring in CBS News space analyst Bill Harwood, who joins us now from the Johnson Space Center in Texas with more on this historic mission. So, Bill, before we get to this, there was a really poignant moment in which 2 unnamed craters were given names, one Integrity and one Carol for Commander Reed Weissman's late wife. Just talk to us about that moment. The crew hugged, they wiped away tears. It was really poignant.
Yeah, you know, Commander Weissman lost his wife, Carol, back, I think, in 2020 to cancer. He's raised their 2 daughters on his own as a single dad, and I think he got quite choked up about that. You know, they do let astronauts who have flown to the moon in the Apollo program, for example, and now in Artemis II, propose names for unnamed craters that they see on the surface. And, of course, he picked one and named it Carol, which was quite poignant, as you said. I mean, I think he got fairly choked up in the process of that. So quite a moment for Reed Weissman after all these years of training, and to know that on the moon, the crater bears his wife's name. It's
been such a joy to learn more about these astronauts. I mean, they carry that humility, that this is a privilege for them to be able to do this on behalf of humanity. And so we're really rooting for all of them. All right, let's talk about the mission at hand. We know that they made this milestone. What can you tell us about the significance of that moment?
Well, you know, they now have set a record for traveling further than any humans in the history of the world. And that's impressive, but, you know, I think to them it's a very minor accomplishment. I mean, they're looking more at the significance of the mission overall, which is to test their Orion spacecraft to make sure that it's a safe vehicle to carry astronauts to and from the moon in future landing flights. And, of course, the observations they want to make. They have a full agenda of science observations. And remember, even though they're not landing on the moon, the cameras and the technology on board now so far outpaces what they had back in the Apollo program, 50 years ago, that they expect to glean quite a bit. And, of course, no human eyes have seen parts of the far side of the moon lit up, which they're going to do. So that's pretty exciting, too. I think those are the things the crew is thinking about. The distance record is a nice thing to have, I guess, but they're hoping it'll be broken in the near future.
They've already marveled at how incredible the moon looks to the naked eye from the distance where they currently are. What can you tell us about the images that they'll be capturing and the fact that we're going to have this 40-minute communications blackout, how crucial that is as well, and the fact that they're going to be scoping out potential future landing sites?
Well, sure. One of the interesting things about when Apollo astronauts flew behind the moon, it was in darkness because they wanted to land on the side facing Earth that was in sunlight. So they could see things on the far side, but not in any detail. The Artemis II astronauts will see features on the far side in detail, and they're going to document that exhaustively with cameras and with videography and by verbal observations, what their eyes can see, which in some cases is superior to what you can do with a camera. The blackout phase, every crew that's gone around the moon has flown behind it and thus out of contact with Earth. You can't send a radio signal through the moon, right? So in this case, they're going to be the most alone people in the solar system for about 40 minutes, which is sort of neat. And I've heard other astronauts say they look forward to that because all the chatter from Earth, mission control, all of a sudden that's gone, and it's just you and your crewmates up there doing the mission, carrying out the observations. And I think they're looking forward to that. There's certainly nothing scary about them being out of contact. Isaac Newton's driving this spacecraft. They're going to come out on the other side, as planned. There's no question about that. So I think they're going to enjoy it, bottom line.
Well, thank you so much for that. We appreciate your expertise. Let's now go to CBS News senior correspondent Mark Strassmann, who's also at Johnson Space Center at our news bureau there. Mark, this is obviously a very exciting day. What's going through your mind as you've been covering this in such detail?
Well, just what a milestone this really is. Both the passing of the record, of course, but I mean that everyone expects that will be temporary, and that's certainly what Reed Wiseman was encouraging from space. Don't settle for this. I mean, let's push on, everybody, especially in the future generations of astronauts and NASA. But tonight's flyby is going to be very, very interesting. They're going to see parts of the moon that humans have never seen before. They're going to spend 3 or more hours taking pictures of the far side, which will be about 20% illuminated. And NASA also believes that in some cases, what they see will be more revealing than what pictures they take, because human eyes can pick up nuance and detail and coloring in some instances that the photographs cannot, and they'll be as low as 4,000 miles over the surface, and it's really going to be something to see when those images are downloaded here in Houston. The crew will take those pictures alternating in shifts. There'll be one astronaut at each window. One person will be taking pictures, and at the other window, the astronaut will be making and recording observations of what he or she sees. This crew has done remarkably well so far. I mean, their capsules also aced this test flight. NASA has to really be pleased with what Artemis II has accomplished so far, and with any luck, what they're going to accomplish this evening.
You got a chance to talk to them on Saturday. What was your biggest takeaway from your interaction with them?
Well, one of them was just the opportunity to talk to people who are 180,000 miles away from me. I mean, I'm sitting here, they're sitting, 70,000 miles from the moon, and yet we're able to have this conversation. A couple things struck me. One, they were very human in their responses. I mean, they're trained, professional, disciplined astronauts, and yet the side of them that also came out in that interview was how lucky they feel as people to have this opportunity, and how blown away they have been by watching the moon grow ahead of them and watching the Earth recede behind them, get smaller. And then Victor Glover, I asked him about his Easter message. All astronauts are allowed to bring personal mementos, things that matter to them, into space. Glover brought his Bible, and he had a very, very poignant message about togetherness and gratitude. NASA posted his response on their social media platforms, Lindsay. It had, last time I checked, 19 million views. I mean, it just had an overwhelming resonance among the NASA audience, clearly people who are following this mission. And I imagine we're going to have some more moments like that before this Artemis II mission is over, Lindsay.
Okay, so we have the lunar flyby. What will you be tracking in terms of crucial moments after that?
Well, I think everyone expects but still wants to hear the crew reemerge into the communication window, right? I mean, as Bill said, I mean, they're going to be sort of alone all by themselves for those 40 minutes because you don't have line of sight for a radio signal. So everyone's going to want to just hear that they're okay and that everything is fine. And then from there, I think we're going to want to hear from the crew some more in two ways. One, what did they see back there, and what were their observations? What were their thoughts? What were they feeling? And then two, let's see some of these pictures, right? I mean, this is a part of the moon that we haven't never, in some cases, seen before. And what does it look like? What does it tell us? What does it tell us about the history of the moon and of the galaxy and how it all began? So there's some intriguing personal observations to come, but there are also some intriguing scientific theories to come based on what these folks are going to see in the next few hours.
All right, we'll see you and talk to you again soon. Mark Strassmann, thank you. Ambre Rose Trujillo is the spokesperson for the Planetary Society. She joins us now. Amber, you have been following this on your social media and documenting it. What do you think people are most fascinated by from what you're seeing in terms of your comments?
I think that people are most excited about seeing just us going back, right? The big difference between Apollo is it almost exists in history. And for us, it's happening right now. So it's something that is our Apollo, and people are really, really excited about it.
What do these achievements today mean for the community, the space exploration community?
I mean, the achievements means that we are actually going back, right? I hope it means that we're going back, and we will keep going back this time. You know, after Apollo funding was slashed for NASA, a lot of the workforce and the infrastructure of NASA collapsed, and so it broke that supply chain and our ability to go back. So during Artemis right now it's happening again, and NASA's funding could potentially get slashed again. So I'm hoping that this time, we NASA's tagline for Artemis is that we are going, and I hope this time we're going to stay.
You know, there are a lot of people who have been saying, why are we doing this? Why the expenditure? Because we know there are so many problems at home. There's a lot of turmoil globally. Are you finding that by and large, though, people are excited and want to see this investment in future exploration?
You know, it's really interesting that you say that because before the actual launch happened, there was a lot more questions about the why. Why are we going? And obviously, you've probably probably your audience has heard that we are going to stay this time. We're going to have a sustainable presence. But I think now for a lot of people, it's much more real. And NASA helps Earth as well, right? We go out to protect our home here, and so it's important that we keep going.
Amber Rose Trujillo, thank you so much.
Thank you.